They are the best of all the created things. That's not an exaggeration to say that. So, let's look at the stories of the prophets in the Quran. And I think you'd agree that those stories are there to inspire us, to motivate us. And prophets have been sent for what reason? As an example for us to follow. Is that not true? If you think about the logic of Allah sending human beings as messengers, why? The pagans used to complain. They used to say, why doesn't Allah send angels? So that's one of the things they used to challenge the Prophet. Why doesn't God send an angel to walk amongst us? And there's a very good reason for that. Because Allah understands the human psychology. Allah knows how our brains work. If Allah sent an angel to walk amongst us, what would we say? We'd say, you know, you're an angel. It's very easy for you to say, don't look at those beautiful women. You don't feel what I feel. You're an angel, right? You don't feel hungry like me. You're an angel. You don't feel the inclination to do evil things. You're an angel. Right? How many excuses will we make? No, so that's why Allah chose human beings. Yes, the prophets, all the prophets, they had desires like us. They made mistakes like us. They forgot things like us. They ate food, breathed air, they were born and they died like us. They're the best. And they had to make a choice, like we have to choose to obey or disobey. They made the choice. So they are examples. Allah sent messengers who are human beings. Why? Because that's an example we can follow and we should follow. Now I'm going to ask you to think about the story of the prophets in the Quran. Let's start with one of the greatest. I'm only going to go through the really strong prophets. So let's think about the first one I want to mention is Nuh alayhi salam. How long did Nuh give dawah to his people? 950 years. 950 years. Now what I'm really curious, is there any hafiz of Quran here? Hands up if you've memorized the whole Quran. Just one, two. MashaAllah. How many people, I'm going to ask you, I don't normally get hands to be put up. But this is really important. How many people have read the Quran from cover to cover at least once in a language they can understand? I don't mean just in Arabic, in a language they can understand. So you know, you have a vague idea or maybe a concrete idea. MashaAllah, it's a good percentage. Alhamdulillah. And all of us, by the way, should do that. So tell me now, can anyone describe to me the salah of Nuh from the Quran? How about the tahajjud of Nuh from the Quran? How about the sadaqah, you know, the charity of Nuh from the Quran? Can anyone tell me, please? I mean, if I ask most people, most Muslims, I say, describe to me a pious man. They'd say, he goes to the mosque regularly. He has a big beard. Yeah. He goes to the mosque regularly. Nice guy, mashallah. Okay, and he wears sunnat, yeah. Okay, and he makes lots of dhikr, and you know he has zuhud, meaning you know he doesn't care about the world. You won't find this guy driving a Mercedes or a Bentley. You know, it's a simple man, yes, right? And he definitely prayed tahajjud, and he'd give sadaqah, yeah, and he would fast a lot. Do you understand? Wouldn't that be the description of a pious person? You all agree with that, right? Most people, if I said, that's what you'd say is a pious person. But when we look at Nuh alayhi salam, where's the zuhud? Where's the fasting? Where's the tahajjud? Where's the dhikr? Where is it? I mean, these prophets are supposed to inspire us and motivate us, right? We all agreed, true or not? Okay. So please then tell me, the whole of the story of Nuh alayhi salam in the Quran is then about what? What's it about? Oh. It's about dawah. about it, brothers and sisters, because I want you to know the status of dawah. I want you to know the status of dawah. Man ahsanu qawlan da'a ila Allah. Who is better in speech? And it means no one is better in speech. It's a rhetorical question. It means in Arabic, no one is better in speech than the one who calls to Allah. It is the best speech. And it's amongst the best of actions and amongst the most rewardable of actions. How could it not be? Think about it. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever invites a person to a good action will get the reward of that person doing that good action without their reward being diminished. Yeah? So if you invite a person to Islam, that person still gets the reward of praying and fasting and giving charity. It doesn't get taken away. But think about it. If you're the means, and this is the correct way to, if Allah guides a person to Islam through you, because you can't guide anyone. You can't. You know what? That's a beautiful thing. Actually, you could take a big sigh of relief. Imagine if we were actually responsible for making people Muslim, but we're not. Allah guides who He wants to guide. But you could be the means through whom Allah guides a person. And if you are that means, if you choose to take up that responsibility, and Allah guides a person through you, every time they pray, every time they fast, every time they give sadaqah, every time they say subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, every time they read Quran, every time they do any good action, you get rewarded for it. And when they get married and they have kids and they teach their kids the things that you help them come into, you'll get rewarded for what their kids do as well. And their kids' kids, think about it. You get a share in the reward of all of that. Can you describe to me then any deed that has the potential for such reward? Think about it. And it's not just Nuh. Look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. Most of the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam in the Quran is the story of what? Think about it. Most of it is da'wah. Yes, it's true he builds the Kaaba with Ismail. That is true. That's not da'wah directly anyway. That's true. But most of the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, most of it is da'wah. Think about Isa. It's da'wah. Think about Musa alayhi salam. Think of the stories of these prophets. All of them, in fact. Not just the great prophets, even the prophets. The other prophets who are not the strong 5 prophets, subhanAllah, their stories. Lut, Saleh, Suhaib. Their stories of da'wah. There's very little. Sometimes nothing or very little about dhikr, about salah, about siyam, about sadaqah. But you know what, brothers and sisters? Think about this. Imagine you were a non-Muslim. Yeah? Looking at the Muslim community. And you're looking at the Muslims and you're thinking, well, you probably wouldn't be doing a beard like that, but, you know, you'd be looking at the Muslims, right? And you'd be thinking, let me guess, by looking at these people, what their book, the Quran, must be teaching. Yeah, what must be the main themes of the Quran? Yeah? So I'm going to look at the Muslims, and by looking at the Muslims, I'm going to guess what the main themes of the Quran are. Do you think by looking at us and observing us and by their interaction with us, they would be able to conclude that one of the most important themes of the Quran is the importance of passing the message of Islam on to those people who are not yet Muslim? Do you think they would get that from you, my brothers and sisters? No, you know, they look at us, and one thing I'm sure they would conclude is, there must be a lot about halal meat in the Quran. In fact, I think, yeah, maybe 30% of the Quran must be about halal meat.